Good morning, teachers, and you are most welcome for this session. My name is Kaziva Stephen, and I'm going to be sharing with you on the Cambridge curriculum. I was asked by Mr. John to talk about the Cambridge curriculum, and from what he asked me to talk about the framework, to talk about the implementation, the learner attributes, assessment and evaluation, and then the learning approach. So our discussion today is going to rotate on these 5 key areas that are needed for a successful implementation of the Cambridge curriculum. I've been interacting with this curriculum for now 6 years, and I know a little more on what it takes to have this curriculum well implemented. Now, one of the reasons as to why this curriculum was introduced, it was introduced some years back, very many years back, but there were some of the key things that the whites looked at for this curriculum to be introduced. We know very well that schools are complex social organizations, and therefore there is a lot that takes place within the schools that the children attend to. However, in order for us to have all those problems, all those complex problems solved, the whites thought about the Cambridge curriculum that is a bit diverse and very flexible. But with that in mind, they came up with this curriculum that your school has been able to adopt. And today I'm going to dig deep into it such that we can be able to understand and maybe learn something from my experience as a Cambridge tutor. Now, when we talk about the first thing we are going to talk about is what we call the curriculum framework, or what I've called the Cambridge framework. For any curriculum, be it the local curriculum, our Ugandan curriculum, always has a framework. A framework means that document that has been designed to show you what to teach. So a framework contains mainly 3 things. It tells you what to teach, how to teach. So we are going to look at what to teach. What are you going to be teaching, or what have you been teaching? How to teach. Here it will specify which approaches can you use in order for you to teach. So what to teach, how to teach, and how to report the learner's achievement. How are you going to assess? How are you going to find out that these children you are teaching, these children you are taking care of, have learned what you have taught? So a curriculum framework contains the education goals, contains the objectives, the content areas, the strategies, and then the assessment methods and the standards that we follow when we are delivering this curriculum. The curriculum framework for the Cambridge can be obtained from the Google or from the online platforms, but also if you have a school portal, you'll be able to access it, and it gives you the details why we teach this curriculum, how are we supposed to teach it, what are the reasons behind each and every subject that you teach at your school, and how are you supposed to assess and report the achievement of the learner. But also it will tell us that which kind of child are we expecting to model when he or she goes through this kind of curriculum. And that's what we call the curriculum framework. Meaning that if we go deep into the curriculum framework, there are certain things that we are going to look at. But what is the Cambridge curriculum? So the Cambridge curriculum was developed by the Cambridge Assessment International Education, and it is basically for children between the ages of 5 to 19 years. It offers high quality education that is intended to prepare the children for both the real world challenges, but also for academic success. So we expect that any child that goes through this kind of curriculum, he is well prepared to meet and solve problems within the society, because it is very rich in content, it is very rich in generic skills, or what we call the 21st century skills, and it is very practical, that for any child or any teacher that teaches this curriculum, he or she cannot remain the same. Now, what are some of the key features of this Cambridge curriculum? Now, the Cambridge curriculum has what you call stages. We are going to be calling them key stages. Now, at your level or at your school level, for us, we are operating under what we call the secondary section. Now, when it comes to the secondary section, now this is, allow me to put here, this is for mainly primary, but now for us, we operate under the secondary side. Now for the secondary child or for the secondary curriculum, we have two levels, what we call the lower secondary, what we call the upper secondary, and what we call the advanced. Now, if I am to break it into our context, let me use the Uganda context. When you look at lower secondary is like what you have as senior 1 and senior 2. When we talk about upper secondary, is something like S3, S4. When I talk about advanced, that is like S5 and S6 in our Ugandan context. Then, however, in Cambridge, we do not call them classes like S3, S4, S5. Instead, here we look at the years. So when someone is in S6 Cambridge, this one is equivalent to year 30. When someone is in senior 5, this is equivalent to year 12. Someone in senior 4, this is equivalent to year 11. Senior 3, this is equivalent to year 10. Senior 2, okay, let me put senior 2 is equivalent to year 9. And then S1 is equivalent to year 8. So that is how this curriculum is structured in years. So in Uganda, when you hear someone say year 9, it means someone is in senior 2, year 8, senior 1. However, it depends on the school philosophy. Some schools have up to year 6. Yes, some schools go up to year 6, year 7. So there are some schools that have year 7 with them. But at each of these levels, the curriculum is going to be concentrating on a particular thing. So one of the things at the lower secondary, we expect here that here the major areas of concentration for any school are on 3 areas. One is on English, mathematics, and then the science. That is what we concentrate on more when it comes to year 9 and year 8. And at this level, it depends on the school what they want, but some schools do about 7, 8 subjects, or even some can go up to 9, depending on how you want to lay a foundation for the children. However, the serious syllabus or coverage for the secondary will start at what we call year 10 and year 11. And most schools in Uganda that are doing the Cambridge curriculum, they start the Cambridge syllabus seriously when it comes to year 10 and year 11. Because at the end of the year 11, or what you call at upper secondary, children are subjected to exams or to what you call the assessments. So that's why schools take it a bit more serious when it comes to year 10 and year 11. But they use the lower secondary to develop the children's skills and other 21st century skills such as the communication, collaboration, and other skills, ICT proficiency, and then the mathematical skills. So at lower level, we are looking at, can this child be able to develop some skills that he or she can apply at an upper secondary? So that's how they are doing. But also at lower secondary, schools can do what we call assessments. But those assessments, I'm going to be talking about them. So that's how the years are structured, in line with the Cambridge curriculum. However, it depends. There are schools that for them do upper secondary for only 2 years. They do it at year 9 and year 10, and they end at that point. So it depends on how the school curriculum or the curriculum that you really want for the children is going to run. So when you go to some schools outside Uganda, for them you'll find that upper secondary, they consider it as year 9 and year 10. But in our Ugandan context, since we want to match and do not divert a lot from the local curriculum, then that's how we match it in terms of years and in terms of class. So in case a child joins from another school and has joined your school and maybe he was in senior 2, it means that this child can be able to join senior 3. In case the child has been in senior 1 and once, then it means that that child qualifies to be at year at year 9. But at each of these levels, there are certain skills that we shall be expecting from the learner's attribute that the school must be able to deliver such that the child is competent by the time he completes his years in this curriculum. Now, here I've drawn for you a table that shows the years, the age, and then the stage. Now, at Cambridge or at secondary level, we have basically 3 stages that we consider. And those stages we consider, we have what we call key stage 3. So KS stands for key stage. Key stage. So we have key stage 3. So key stage 3 means someone who is in year 7 and year 8. Because at primary, most time in Uganda, we stop at year 6. And after year 6, someone can join the school at year 7. But year 7 are very little kids. They are like the way you see the primary 7 kids. So that's how they join, because at Cambridge, you don't do primary 7. For them, they do year 6. And from year 6, they go on to join year 7. So year 7 qualifies to be at a secondary level for many of the Cambridge schools that we have within the country. And when it comes to key stage 3 will cover year 7, year 8, and year 9. And at this level, we mainly concentrate on building children's skills. So here we look at skills, we look at activities, those things that are going to be supporting the child in order for them to develop the 21st century skills that are going to help this child to develop the cognitive skills, the affective skills, and then the psychomotor skills. So learning is hands-on. The biggest percentage, 80% of it, is more of hands-on skills, such that this child can develop the inquiry skills and other skills that are needed for him to be competitive in the for the next stage that he or she will be going. Then we have another stage we call key stage 4. So key stage 4 is for year 10 and then year 11. And at this level, this is where they are going to be doing a serious syllabus coverage. At this level, it depends on how the school has structured, because at key stage 3, we do not have a specific syllabus that schools are following, but some schools have come up with their own syllabus, mainly to give a foundation. In some schools, we call it the foundation course, that at year 7, year 8, and year 9, they give them foundation courses, or they give them foundation subjects like English, math, because those are compulsory, and then they add on one science. But those subjects that they do, the content, we have some content that is determined by the Cambridge, but many schools now are looking at the content they have at the foundation level. It is linked to what these children are going to cover at year 10. So they look at that interlinking, that once the child has covered year 7, year 8, and year 9, by the time he reaches year 10, he has a good foundation. A case in point, in case it is math, you'll find that at year 7, year 8, and year 9, these children are looking at maybe algebra, fractions, because they are going to find them, those given topics, at year 10. So syllabus coverage, the serious syllabus coverage will start from year 10 and year 11, but it depends on how the school has planned. So for you as a teacher, you can plan early and say, maybe for me, I'll begin my syllabus in year 9, but at year 9, I make sure that I bring in the foundation course first, then the basics that these children need to know, and then I build up from there. Then we have what we call key stage 5. Key stage 5, like I've said, is equivalent to senior 5 and then senior 6, that kind of level. Now at year 12 and year 13, here we have serious syllabus coverage as well. And these syllabi are always available on the school portal, but also Cambridge always sends information about what the schools are supposed to cover. The good thing with Cambridge that the syllabus that now you will need for your given subject is already out for. So for the syllabus that you will need for, let me say, next year or the other year, you'll find that it is already there with the sample assessment and everything already. So mean that the teacher has the time to prepare very well before he or she continues to another stage. So however, it depends. we have children that, or we have universities that once someone has year 12, this child qualifies to go to university. So we have in some schools whereby at year 12, some of the children finish year 12 and then they go. But at each of this level here, we shall be doing exams at this level. Then at year 12, also there are exams that children do. At year 13, also we have exams that children do. Now, where is the beauty? The beauty is that at year 12, a child may decide, let me say, in case it is maybe mathematics, you'll find that in case mathematics has about 4 papers, a child may decide to do 2 papers in year 12, and then they do other 2 papers in year 13. So in case maybe it is biology, a child may decide that they are going to do some papers, let me say 2 papers here, and then they do other 2 papers at that level. So children have that choice to do what they want. However, some schools that have noticed that many children, once they finish year 12, for them they just go to university because that qualification you have already is accepted at university level. So some children decide not to continue to year 13. So what are some schools doing? Some schools now are combining everything. They're saying that the children should sit for exams in year 13. So it depends on how the school is going to do how you are going to do your dynamics. So at year 13, here a child may decide that all the papers of year 12 and year 13, you do them at once. In case it is mathematics, you find this child doing statistics, doing the mechanics, doing the pure 1 and 2 at the same time. So it depends on what the child really wants and what the school has prepared for. That determines how that child will be assessed at that particular level. So that is all about year 13 and year 12. So that's what we call AS and then A level. So AS is more or less like what we call subsidiary, and then year 13 is the advanced level. Now, what happens at lower secondary? Lower secondary, I've said that this is equivalent to, I'm putting it in the easy language, senior 1, senior 2. But in Cambridge, that is year 8 and year 9. So at lower secondary, children have the opportunity to do what we call a checkpoint. We call it lower secondary checkpoint. Now, these exams that children can do, these exams, we have exams that can be set, that are set by Cambridge, and those ones are mainly done in the months of May and June, or October and November. Those ones, we call them Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint. So in case children want to do, or the parent asks, or when the school wants, those children can do those exams that are going to prepare them for upper secondary. However, schools can also decide to do their own exams, or to set their own exams. So that one, we call it just a progression test that is going to support you to know whether this child is really capable of moving from one level to another. In our Ugandan context, that's what we call end of term exams, end of year exams. So you are free as a school to give these children end of year exams at the end of year 9, such that you can weigh which children are capable of crossing to go to the upper secondary. Now, at upper secondary, I told that at lower secondary, we mainly concentrate on 3 areas: English, mathematics, and then science. But when it comes to upper secondary, we have 5 key technical areas that we look at. We look at the language, we look at humanities and social science, we look at science, mathematics, creative, technical, and vocation. Now, these are the 5 key areas that we look at. Now, these 5 key areas, a child can do a minimum of 5 subjects at this level. A minimum of 5, but the maximum can go even up to 12, depending on the strength of the child. So here, the child has the choice to choose either to do only 5 subjects, or to, as long as on those subjects the child is choosing, there is English as one of the languages. Let me say here, the child must have English on one of the subjects. You can have science. Here, science, you can have biology, chemistry, or physics. Then mathematics must be there. So mathematics, 1 science is compulsory, and then English. However, as a school, you may decide and say that which science can we make compulsory? Because some schools have noticed that if you give the child an opportunity to choose what he or she wants on the science, many of them, they may just go for any. However, some of these science subjects have are so important in real life. Take an example, biology. Every day you find yourself that you need to use the biology. So where I am or where I do teach, for us here, we made biology compulsory. So biology is the compulsory science subject, but Cambridge, it makes it an elective. It is free. A child is free to choose any. But here we made it compulsory, having noticed that biology will cut across in children's life, even in life. You'll find that you need a lot of biology to take care of yourself, to know more about your body and other different things. So meaning that here where I am, a child must do English, biology, and mathematics. Then the other 5, the child has a choice to choose one subject from humanities and one subject from creative, technical, and then the vocation. But the minimum number of subjects that children do for them to be able to obtain a certificate should be 5, but the maximum can be up to 12, 13, depending on the child's ability and strength in the academic world. Then at the end of year 11, what we call our senior 4 in the Ugandan contest, children here in Uganda is what we call the UNEB. They do UNEB. So at Cambridge, they do what we call an International General Certificate of Secondary Education, what we call IGCSE. So we call it International General Certificate of Secondary Education. And now, for people outside UK, they do IGCSE. But people who are within UK, for them, they do GCSE. So when you find GCSE, this one is an indicator that the school is within UK and they're the only people who do that particular assessment. But anyone outside of UK, now for you will do what you call International General Certificate of Secondary Education. That's what we do at the end of year 11. And these exams always take place. We have them, sometimes they run from May to June. Then we have what we call October, November. And the beauty is that for Cambridge, they will even tell you that your exams by January, they will be out. Even they will be specific on the date. Now, like this year, I think it was 16th January. So by November, by October, they were everyone knew when the exams are going to come back. So that's what we do at this level. But also you'll find out that we have regions, much as we have IGCSE, but now we are divided in 2 regions. We have, let me say, the south and then like the north. So you need to know where your school lies if you are in Uganda. Then when it comes to advanced subsidiary and advanced level, at this level, still we have the same subjects. We have languages, humanities, science, mathematics, and then the creative art. So here, the child at AS and A level has an option of taking 3 subjects or more. So here a child can take 3 subjects or can take 4 subjects, but many of them just go with only 3 subjects. So you find a child doing PCB, doing BCM, any combination as long as it has 3. But here you have the opportunity to say, for me, I will do BCM and you add on psychology. So they do 4 principal subjects or 3, depending on what you want. But at this level, we add on what you call like general paper. Like the way you know of the general paper of Uganda. Also, they have a paper called the general paper that a child can add on to do at that level. But in most cases, depending on the school, they do it in AS or they do it in year 12. That's where they do it, and always happens around October, November. But it depends on the school setting. Some schools want to sit their exams in June, and the reason why they sit their exams in June, they want these children to be ready for university. Some schools sit in November because some universities start their intake in January, and by January exams are already released. So they are preparing these children for for entry into university. So you can as well balance and say if they sit in June, it means that July exams around July, August exams will be out. So if at all there is a university that starts maybe around September, then the child can be in position to join that particular university. So it depends. It is the school that chooses which year, which seating they want. But even some schools, they sit in both situations. So even at this level of AS, like I've told you, we have language. So you may find someone who's doing English as a principal subject. It's not here in Uganda. It is not in our Uganda context. So here you find someone doing English, adding on maybe computer science, and then you can add on psychology. So you find someone doing such a combination. So English, it is also examined at A level as a principal subject. So all languages, humanities, science, mathematics, creative, all of them can generate what we call principal subjects. Okay, now what are some of the subjects we have on the menu? Like I've told you, the framework always will tell us what to teach. So it contains all the different subjects we study. So now when you look at these are some of the subjects we have, but the Cambridge framework provides over 70 subjects that we can choose. But here we mainly have internationally recognized subjects. We shall not find the local subjects such as maybe Luganda, maybe Lusoga, maybe Runyankole, and other languages. So here we shall find only internationally recognized subjects in languages such as French, German. You'll find Arabic. You're going to find Chinese. You're going to find Kiswahili. Yes, so you'll find such languages. But here at this menu, the subjects are many, over 70 plus. So the school has the choice to choose which subjects to take on depending on the manpower and then the resources that are available. However, there are certain subjects that you may not miss out, because if you are into education, you have noticed that there are certain subjects that are really very important. So subjects that you cannot miss out because they are compulsory. One of them is English, then math. Then for the science, because we are promoting scientific things, so you may consider having all the three science subjects: biology, chemistry, physics, and then it is up to you to choose which other subjects you can add on. But always better you add on other subjects that these children can take on even afterwards. So you find some schools choosing economics, fashion, and design. This is more of like what we have here as textile. Those things of textile. ICT is a subject as well, even at the other advanced level. It's called into computer science, but also we have information technology. So a child may need to choose. So business math in our context here is more or less like what we have as entrepreneurship. Yes, then geography and environmental management, they're a bit related. Global perspective, drama here is more or less drama here wants to resemble what we call music, but for it, or what we call performing arts, but for it, it is more, because children must act, must do other things. And you'll find out that for drama, sometimes for it is done earlier on. In case children are sitting in October, November, then drama is done a month or 2 months early before the children. So it's one of the first papers that are always done, because it has coursework. Children must record what they are doing, they must act, and other things. So always for it is done earlier on before any other examinations. Most of the schools that are sitting between October and then November. Then this is just a sample of the checklist. I talked about the checklist that they give children at the end of year 8, year 8, year 9, before they cross over to year 10. So this is a checklist that that reports the learner's achievement. So when Cambridge releases their results, they will give you a detailed report on what the child can do within that particular subject and at which level has the child reached on. They will show you that this child, when it comes to numbers in mathematics, is at this level. When it comes to geometry, is at this level. Handling data is at this level. So they explain to you in details what the child is capable of doing at each and every particular stage. So when you are reporting the learner's achievement, it means that you must give in details what the learner can do in that particular subject. In case you are teaching mathematics, then it's not just a matter of you saying 90 and that is an star. That's not enough. You must go and tell us what can the child do in this particular subject, which areas need improvement within that particular area. So that is the reason of seeing those boxes and other things to help you interpret the level at which the learner is at in that particular subject. So Cambridge will give you a detailed report of this nature, having all the 3 subjects that the child has taken on at this particular level. So it is always issued at year 9. It is issued when someone finishes year 6. Then other levels, they give advanced or they give certificates and other documents. Now, what are some of the key features of the IGCSE syllabus? 1, it offers diverse subjects in STEM. STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It has very many subjects. Like I've told you, it has over 70 subjects that the curriculum is offering, meaning it is very diverse. A child is free or a school is free to choose the subjects menu depending on the resources and other factors within the school setting. Then it has what we call rigorous standards. Yes, it prepares children for higher education, holistic development, flexibility and choice. Here, a child has he can customize the combination to fit what he or she really feels at university, or what he or she wants to do at university. So it is very flexible, and you can do anything you really want, given that the teachers are guiding the children. So these are some of the key features of the IGCSE syllabus. But what are the entry requirements for someone to qualify to be in A level or to sit for A level? As a school, there are certain things you may first look out for. And one of the standards is that that child must have passed at least 5 subjects at O level, or what we call IGCSE level, or year 11. So if the child didn't have those subjects passed, then it means that he or she does not qualify. However, also the minimum grade matters a lot. So a learner needs to have at least a C in the subject, more so when it comes to English and mathematics. So in case the child does not pass English, those compulsory subjects we talked about, English, math, and the science, with at least a C, it means that that child will be asked to repeat that subject. So when a child goes in, let me say, the child can progress to year 12, but then he comes back to do a retake. So Cambridge allows doing a retake. In case the child sits and is not really very happy with the marks, he or she can go back and then he reapply, and then he does the particular subject he or she failed. So at A level also, a learner must choose at least 3 subjects, at least 3, so 3 or 4, but not more than 4 subjects can be taken. But the learner chooses a combination that has 3 subjects, because many of the universities just require a learner to have 3 subjects, whereby the 2 are the essential subjects and then 1 is what you call the relevant subjects. But if these children, because as you are guiding them, you need to look at whether these children are going to study within the country or outside the country. In case the children are going to study within our country, then you may advise them to do general paper as one of the subsidiary subjects that they will need in the future for them to be admitted to some particular universities within the country. Okay, then how many years do the children study AS? It is up to them. Some children, if the resources are available and they can decide to do only 1 or 2 papers in year 12, then they wait, they do 1 or 2 in year 13, then they wait, they do 1 or 2 in year after some time, like that. So a child has the choice to repeat any papers and to do a given number of papers for a particular period of time. But however, the years shouldn't be at least beyond 4 years. Now, what is the difference? I know many of you might have already interacted with the syllabus, and you have been seeing core and extended. You have been seeing first language and second language. Since we are dealing with learners with different learning abilities, Cambridge caters for all those learners. So a learner can either do core or a learner can do extended, depending on the learning abilities, depending on the strength that the child has, the passion for what he or she really wants. And what is the difference between core and what you call extended? Now, when it comes to core will always, it provides an overview of the subject. In other words, the core subject, for it just gives you, let me say, what we call a foundation in a particular subject. Take an example. At your level, many of you have the basics of mathematics. I'm just using that as an example to cater for all the teachers that we have here. So you have just the basics. So core is it just gives you the basics. But when it comes to extended means that they are going to give you the basics, but also they are going to go beyond the basics. So core has a few topics. Core provides a few topics here. There are a few topics that you do, but here you do all the topics. You do what you call the core topics, and then Cambridge goes on and adds on what you call the supplementary. Therefore, as a teacher, when you are teaching, you need to know, am I teaching core students? Am I teaching extended students? The approach of teaching you use among the core students is not the same approach that you use when it comes to extended students. So extended students always are a bit far. They are a bit more knowledgeable in the subject compared to their counterparts who are doing the core. Then when it comes to the grade, for someone who has done core, the highest grade you can score is a C, then the smallest is a D. However, when it comes to extended, the highest is an A star, then the lowest is an E. What does it mean? It means that even if a child scores 99, when he or she is doing a core, that child will be given a C. That is the meaning, because he has done just the basics, the foundation. However, for someone who has done extended, once he scores 99, that one is already an A star. In case someone scores a very good mark here, so you need to have the children sensitized and a parent between what core and what extended is. But for someone who has done extended, those subjects he has done at extended level, they will be giving him a foundation to approach a level with a steady mindset. But children who have done core subjects at O level, then it's not advisable for those children to go in for those principal subjects when it comes to A level. Like I've said, that the target audience for core is for children who have special education needs. We have those children that you really look at and you notice that this child may not manage my mathematics, may not manage the physics, the chemistry. So for such children are given core. Then we have what we call extended. Extended is given to those children that are really strong in that particular subject, that you really feel they have the skills to go beyond their comfort. So that is what we call the extended exam. So when even the papers are being set, they set the core and they set the extended. So the teacher, you must be very, very careful to read the syllabus, such that you know that when I'm teaching core students, these are the things I have to teach. When I'm teaching extended students, these are the things I need to achieve. Otherwise, you are not supposed to combine the core students combined with the extended children, because the content they cover is a bit different depending on the conditions availed. Okay, so that is briefly about core and then extended. The same thing happens when it comes to first language and when it comes to second language. First language, they are a bit strong compared to the people who are doing the second language. Then we have what we call learner attributes. Now, when we talk about a learner attribute, we are going to ask ourselves, if this child goes through our school, what kind of product do we want to see on the market? What can this child be able to do when he or she goes outside? So that is what we are going to be referring to as the learner's attribute. So we are expecting that the moment the child does the Cambridge curriculum, there are certain things that must come out, and these things can be assessed through maybe observation. What you observation can be assessed through the psychomotor domains, or what you call the cognitive domain. So some of the things that we are expecting, they are majorly 5. For anyone who has done the Cambridge curriculum, there are 5 key attributes, or what we call the traits or characteristics, that or features that must come out from this particular child. And it is your duty as a teacher, as a school, to ensure that these children that go through your hands achieve these particular attributes. Otherwise, if they don't achieve them, then it means that these children, they may not perform to the expectation. It means that they have not achieved what the intended goals of doing the Cambridge curriculum. So those 5 things are confident, responsible, reflective, innovative, and engaged. And these attributes, we can achieve them through different ways. We can achieve them through our lessons. We can achieve them through the different things that we do at school, the different activities that are available within our school community. So those are the 5 attributes that any child who has gone through the Cambridge curriculum, he or she must be able to attain. And what are they in details? Now, in the details, we have 2 things. I have compared for you here the learner's attribute and what we expect the teacher. There is no any way you will teach a child to be confident if you as a teacher, you are not confident. To be responsible if you as a teacher, you are not responsible. So one of the attributes is being confident. Being confident means that the ability for the child to be able to work with the information and ideas. The learner who has gone through the Cambridge, we expect them to be very confident, to be able to stand, to be able to come out and talk and communicate. That's what we call the confidence. Still, even the teacher as well, the teacher who is teaching the Cambridge curriculum, we expect this teacher to be very confident in the teaching and delivering of the subject matter, of the different subjects that we are teaching. So the teacher is able to seek the understanding of the different education needs. Then we expect a learner to be very responsible and respectful to the community. Recently, even the Cambridge is integrating in the environmental properties, or what you call the climate action into the curriculum. So we expect that children are more responsible, but as well, the teachers are more responsible and respectful to others. It can be the environment, it can be the community, it can be to the school rules and other things. Because because remember that children copy exactly what they see the teachers are doing. Monkey see, monkey do. What you as a teacher you do is what the child is going to do. So one way in which we can have these skills inculcated into these learners, it means that it is through seeing what we do as teachers. So many of the things you do as a teacher, it is going to reflect in the behavior of the children that go through your hands. So we say that we want someone who is very responsible. Therefore, it means that you as a teacher also, you be very responsible, such that the learner will copy the characters that you are displaying when you are within the school environment. When a learner sees you that as a teacher, maybe you dress smartly, children will also be able to copy exactly what you're doing. When they see that you are respecting people, also they will respect. So slowly, you will see that those features can come out from the children. Then number 3 is what we call reflection. many times for a learner to be able to attain or to retain what he or she has learned, it means that he needs that time to reflect on how the day has gone. But how can we achieve the reflective or the reflection? Here as a school, I can share an example where I am. Where I am, we call them planners. Now, a planner is just a small book that contains, it has a day, it has a timetable, it has a reflection point, and then the activities and other things. So every day as a must, children have time for reflection. They have 30 minutes every day in the morning, and it's the first thing they do. Like when they come to class, we call them peer tutors. That as or class teacher in our context in Uganda, we call them class teachers. So they come, they sit with the class teacher, but they first reflect on how their day went, and they plan for their day, the following day or that particular day, the activities. Then they start reflecting on the different activities that they had, what they can do better, and how they can improve. So that's what we call the reflective nature, because through that reflection, the learner is able to develop other skills, is able to learn how can I plan, is able to know more about him or herself. Therefore, as a teacher as well, you need to develop what we call the reflective aspect, that after teaching this particular lesson, I must sit down and I reflect, how has the lesson gone? That the lesson maybe went on well, the learner did not disturb me, I was able to do all my activities as planned. So you reflect on how your lesson has gone. Because through that reflection, there are certain things that you come to learn more, and you keep on making improvement. But if you are a teacher who doesn't reflect, it means that if you maybe, God forbid, you make a mistake in this lesson, you'll repeat the same mistake in the other lesson, the same mistake, the same mistake. So you'll find that that same mistake is being carried forward. If you can remember very well, in the schools that some of us went through, you'll notice that teachers might have had notes that had mistakes, but you would find that that mistake has been passed on from one generation to another, because teachers didn't have time to reflect and look through what they're giving these children. So through the reflection, you are able to know more a lot on what you are teaching, how you can improve yourself, but also the children that are into your hands. So each of these key aspect, as a school, you must look at how are you going to bring it out. How are you going to support the learners to be reflective? So I've told you that here we use the planners. How are you going to make them more responsible? Here you can say we are going to have a leadership course. Our learners will be leaders. So you make sure that you create as many posts as possible to see that everyone has somewhere he or she can learn. If you want them to be confident, what are you going to do? It means that the lessons that you are going to design as a teacher, they should be very interactive to allow these learners to come in front of the other fellow children to discuss, to be able to come out to share their ideas. So through that, it means that they are going to gain the confidence as time goes on. Then the other aspect is what we call the innovative nature. Innovation is an aspect that it has come out, that the learner can create new things or able to add on what is already existing. Now, innovation, still as a school or as a teacher in your particular subject, you need to see how can that aspect of innovation come out, because once you solve a problem that has been unfamiliar, it means that you are becoming innovative. So here you can introduce some programs at school. Let me say a digital, digital festival. You can maybe digital day. You can say innovative day, such that these learners can keep on creating and solving problems within the society. But you as the teacher as well, we expect that someone who's teaching the Cambridge curriculum is innovative also enough. By innovation here, we are looking at how are you able to improve the skills that you have? How are you able to solve the problem? How are you able to create, to experiment? In case you are going in for this particular lesson, how are you going to be more innovative? That here, let me use this approach. Here, let me use this approach. Be it even using the what? Technology. Yes, because let me use technology as my example to show innovation. When you look at that the technology we have, there is a lot we can do. We can come up with innovative things, but the only challenge we have that many times as teachers, we stop at one level. In technology development, we have, I don't know whether you have heard of what we call the Samara model. Samara model. Many of us, we stop at only what the lower level. Samara model is organized in this form. We have S, we have A, we have M, and R. So A is the lowest level, which means substitution. So whenever you stop at the first level substitution, that I'm going to class, as long as I have a projector, I'm innovative, I'm creative. No, that is not enough. You are still at a lower level. If it is in learning, it means you are still at primary level. But now, if we can move on, instead of just you being at the substitution level, you move on to argumentation level, modification level, and then the redefinition level. So we need to look at how can we move from where we are and then we improve ourselves to go to the next level, such that we are very imaginative, we are very flexible, we are very resourceful. So you need also to be creative and innovative, such that at least in each and every lesson you go in, children can see a change. That this time round, the teacher was using a projector. The other time, he came with another model. The other time, you came with something different. So that kind of creativity, it helps you to be more innovative, and even your lessons will be more engaging. Then the last one is what we call the engaged learner. Lessons that we do deliver for the children will help us to have these children more engaged. Because we are creating a community, we want the learners to be able to collaborate, meaning that your lessons must be engaging. If you go to the lesson and every learner is facing the blackboard or the whiteboard, it means that your lesson may not be engaging. We want to see the learners communicate. Through that kind of communication, talking to each other, it means that the learners are going to be very engaged. They are going to be very curious, always waiting. When is teacher's lesson? When is this lesson coming in? So through those engaging lessons, learners will be able to learn the engagement, collaboration skills, and other skills. So we want a learner that is more engaged, more hands-on, the learner that is able to learn a new skill, that is always curious, always waiting for a particular lesson or a particular teacher to come in. But still, as a teacher, also we expect you to be more engaged. The moment you enter class, it doesn't mean that you just give the learners the activity and then you look at them. No, we expect that now, as a teacher, you'll be moving from one group to another, from one group to another, from one group to another, interacting with the learners and being able to share more knowledge with them. So that is what we call the learner attribute, but as well what we call the teacher's attributes in the curriculum. So we expect learners to be more confident, responsible, reflective, innovative, and very engaged. But like I've told you, now engagement, here we can develop what we call group work. That once the learners are coming in for your lesson, you give them a lot of group work such that they can be more engaged. You give them a lot of hands-on activities such that they can be more engaged. You give them a lot of driving questions such that they can be more engaged. So you need to look out for any lesson. Are you going to engage the learners? Is it going to be about innovation, reflective, responsible, confident? So you look out for which activity is going to be helping this child or is going to be helping you as a teacher to develop these particular attributes. And once the learner attains those attributes, it means that the learner would have attained the competence that the Cambridge curriculum is aiming at. Okay. in the teaching and learning, these are some of the categories when it comes to the 21st century skills. So the ways of thinking, ways of working, tools for working and living the world. Once we have these ones also integrated in our teaching and learning, it means that the learners will be supported to achieve the different attributes that the Cambridge curriculum is looking at. Okay. Allow me, I'm going to skip this, the different domains, and then I look at the learning approach. Now, when we talk about the learning approach, we are looking at, as a teacher, as a school, how are we going to engage these learners? How are we going to deliver? How are we going to implement the curriculum such that our learners enjoy the learning, such that our learners leave this school that they will never forget the experiences that they went through or that they attained? Now, when you look at the pictures, I'm going to show you different pictures such that they can support you when you are designing. So when you look at this, you are not seeing that I'm bringing out the different attributes. When you look at the first picture here, when you look at the first picture, I don't know whether someone can unmute and you tell us, when you look at the attributes we are looking at, which attribute do you think we are trying to attain in the first picture? Then I have the second picture. In case someone can unmute and share with us, so much the better. For first one or second one, which attribute do you think we are looking at in those pictures? Or which attribute do you think the teacher who is teaching that particular lesson is bringing out?
So, Mr. Stephen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Me, I would concentrate on the first one, that is innovation.
Very good. Thank you so much. That is very true. Okay, yes. So here we are looking at innovation. I know very soon you are going to have those sensors, you are going to have robotics. Yes, Teacher Andrew?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stephen. Looking at picture 2, I'm seeing that attribute of engagement or being engaged.
Very good. And that is true, Teacher Andrew. Yes. So now such activities are the ones that we expect schools or to expect you to have in your lesson, such that you bring out the different the different things. Many times when you go in lessons and you give them work, you give them notes, you give them this, they will always forget. But these things they engage in, because you can see when the teachers themselves are engaged in picture 2, it means that it will stay with the learner and he or she will keep on learning. I'm going to show you different pictures. Even when you look at these pictures, you're seeing that the teacher is engaged with the learners. The teacher is able to show them everything. So this is how we expect that any lesson you are preparing, it should be you are very engaged. There is some kind of innovation. There is some kind of confidence. When you look at this, you are not seeing that we are bringing in some kind of technology in our lesson. You are not seeing that the learners are a bit engaged. This is the teacher. The teacher is trying to interact with some students. When you come here, let me ask here, which attribute do you think we are obtaining in picture 1? When you look at picture 1, remember we have 5. There is confidence, responsible, reflective, innovative, engaged. Yes, Teacher Andrew, I'm seeing your mic open. Okay, Teacher Stacy?
I think in picture 1, we see confidence.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, we are looking at confidence. Now, when you look at picture 1, here, sometimes when children do good things, we invite parents to come and witness. So children are able to come and confidently talk to the parents. So this was one of the expo we had whereby children were presenting their ideas. They were presenting to the parents about their product. But also in picture 2 here, we are trying to show you that learning does not only happen in the four-wall classroom. And that is one of the things we need now to go away with. That it doesn't mean that always learning must be within the classroom, but learning can as well be outside classroom. This is the teacher. And when you look very well, you notice that learners are in their different groups learning, but outside. It can be any lesson as long as you have prepared very well. So it means that learning doesn't mean that you must always be within the classroom. It can be outside the classroom. So some of these small things are the ones that are going to make your learner a bit different. Because the moment we start focusing beyond the four-wall classroom, it means that we have started thinking and our learners are going to be more creative. Take an example. I have another picture here. When you look at this is the teacher. Now, if this is the teacher, which kind of attribute has this teacher attained? Or which attribute can you look at? Imagine this is the teacher and this is the teacher's class. Anyone who can tell us which kind of attribute has this teacher attained? Okay, so when you look at this kind of teacher, you are noticing that this teacher has gone beyond. He has gone beyond the normal things that we have kept on doing of just showing them, but now the learners can as well be able to touch. Because once they come in for the lesson, they are going to study about ICT. They can even be able to touch and see each and every equipment that this teacher has. Yes, thank you, Janet. Janet has said that there is innovation. Yes, this teacher is very innovative, he's very creative. It means that he has dismantled the computer such that the learners can be able to, they are going to be able to engage with these things, to touch, but also there's a lot of creativity. Okay, this is for that side of the teacher. When you look at the classroom, because learning, now these children here you are noticing, these are the babies. I told that some schools have year 6, year 7 in their schools. So when you look here, we are bringing in some kind of technology. A classroom of a Cambridge school is totally different from a classroom of these local or other schools. I want you to observe very well. You will notice that there is a lot of color. And when you go into psychology, they will always tell you that color has some kind of relation with the functioning of the brain. So when you look at very many of the good classroom, it means that you shouldn't only look at the black or the white colors, but try to bring in other colors that can be able to stimulate these children to think and also enjoy what they are learning. So the way it means that as a teacher, the way you design your class, the way you're going to arrange, it will stimulate children to learn. So in psychology, they will tell us that color impacts the brain. How they feel, what they're able to remember. So it is a stimulus for the brain, because 80% of our sensory impressions come from our visual system. So it means that once we have colors, different colors in the design of our classroom, the learners can be able to retain a lot. So that's why you need now, even in your book that the child has, you can involve in as many colors. So I would expect that a teacher who's teaching Cambridge, the book is not these old books we had, whereby you had in your book you had only blue pen. Here we can have the children have the colors with them, and then here they can use yellow, they can highlight here green, they can, such that we have as many colors in the book, such that it can stimulate, it can help them, it can in place, such that they can be able. So also the kind of books that the children use and other things matter a lot for the children to be able to learn more. One of the reasons as why you still even recall some of the primary things, some of the nursery things, one of the reasons because your teachers were using a lot of colors. So you are able to bring that picture back that the teacher was using by then. So this is just how a Cambridge class can look like. You have a chair, you have a board. Now, in many of the classes, maybe one time when you pay us a visit, you'll notice that in all classes we have here, we have boards, and these boards we put different things. We put children's birthdays, we go on and we put those specific subject things, maybe math, maybe physics. We put those encouraging quotes. We put it such that the children can be able to live in a comfortable environment to stimulate learning. Because learning and teaching and learning, in order for us to attain the objectives of teaching, we must first work on the environment. Otherwise, if the environment is not worked on, it means that there are some attributes that the learners may not be able to achieve. If the classroom has the other, let me say, has these tables like the ones we used in during our times, it means that they may not be able to allow engagement during lessons. So the nature of the infrastructures we have, the nature of the environment also matters a lot for us to be able to deliver these lessons effectively. When you look here, still you are noticing I'm showing you engagement, because like we have said that the curriculum goes beyond. This curriculum goes beyond. It's not only about but also other skills that the children can be able to attain. So when you look at this picture, you are noticing that these children, they were having a hands-on, they are studying about ICT. So the teacher had to open the system, the case system, such that the children, when you look at the second picture, you are seeing these children in the baking. So they are able, this was a baking class. So they were learning more skills. So as a school, you may ask, as a teacher, which other skill, which other vocational skill can I add on this child? So it can be in your philosophy as a school or as a teacher to go beyond. Because a case in point, for me, when I'm teaching mathematics and I'm teaching maybe about ratios, we go in for a baking lesson and I show them that today we are going to do the baking. And what I show them how the different ingredients, how they are measured, and how we can apply ratios. So I tell them that now here, in case I want to bake one cake, these are the ingredients that we need. Now, what about when you want to bake 15? How much of each shall we need? So you'll find out that now we are applying the real life knowledge, relating it to what we learn in school or what we are teaching in math. But if you are just going to teach ratios without showing them the real life application, then it means that you have not supported them. Maybe I wanted to show you another picture. There's a picture here that I think I had to show you. Let me just do like this. So when you look here, this is another child that for her, she's concentrating on fashion and design. One of the subjects we have in the curriculum, we have it as fashion and design. So we have children that can attain that skill. So when you are teaching, so it is going to depend on the curriculum, on the subjects you have chosen, but there are certain skills that can support the child. So you'll find that such a child will go out of the school with both the knowledge, but also with both the skills. So these are some of the things. Then here I'm showing you how children are learning and how they are able to attain other attributes. So when you look at this picture here, this side here, this picture here is trying to show us what we call the diversity and the multicultural nature of the Cambridge curriculum. Cambridge promotes culture a lot. I know there is a subject called global perspective and other things. So we have a day within our school. We call it the culture day. And culture day, every child wears his cultural wear, depending on from where you come from, and we allow them to prepare meals basing on their cultures. And then after they display for marking. So these children here are in year, let me say year 13. They were So they had to prepare their meals depending on their culture. They talk about it. So through this, they are able to engage. So you'll find them interacting with each other, and also we are building their confidence that after preparing your meal, can you be able to present it to people? So people or parents come in to see, and even they award them marks. So at the end of the day, they are able to attain their confidence, they are able to learn how to engage with each other, but also to be very creative, because these wares that you are seeing that they are putting on, they have to research and find out which one really best suits, which one is for my culture. So you are promoting also research skills at the end of the day, because they are going to go search about their culture, which wear goes well with our culture, what can I do, even the designing. You are not saying that there are some designs that they are really putting on. So this picture was showing you, now this was African Day and Night. African Day and Night is like a special day within the school where people do put on African wares. Yes, and these were the best kids that were very smart on that day that they chose. But also we promote the sports. Through sports, children can learn. Yes, because you know very that learning in the process when you are teaching, there are different ways you can learn. Through learning, through sports, children learn how to collaborate. And that one you're contributing to attaining the other attributes. So these different attributes can be attained through the different activities that the schools have. So here children are able to be very engaged, to be very creative, and other aspects of life. So when even they are even more responsible, so even the other children are also, it shows that they are a bit more responsible in what they are doing. So those are some of the things. Now, what is the way we teach? Now, teaching, here I mainly used science, but here in case you are teaching an art subject, then you can put your art subject. Now, teaching has moved away from one point and it has gone towards the other side. Now, teachers talk more than learners. This is the old system whereby you go to class, you talk for 1 hour, you dictate notes. Now, this one is no longer important. This is the 20th century, but we are in the 21st century. So we expect that learners engage on task discussion in pairs or small groups. And we expect that your work as a teacher is to observe what the children are doing and be able to supplement on what they are discussing. Because here we use an approach, we call it COP. COP stands for you in your any lesson you go in, you must see the learners converse. They must converse. You must observe the learner. This is observation and this is presentation. That at least for any lesson you go in, let the learners converse. Let them talk to each other. After that, make sure that these learners are able to present. And your work as a teacher is to observe and make sure that you add on, you supplement on what the child. So we expect that in the Cambridge curriculum, the teacher talks less and the learners talk more. So there is less talking on the side of teacher, more talking on the side of the child. By doing so, the learners will be more confident. But if you remember our times, those years back, you remember that the teacher was the commander. Everyone was always quiet, waiting to see what the teacher talks. But here now, we need to allow the learners talk. You have noticed, those who have been to some workplaces, you have noticed that people who can talk someone who can talk can be able to top up at the management level. You have seen there are people who are just talkative, but they can be able to deliver a lot. So talking is okay. So allow the learners to talk, but in a respectful way, but also as a teacher, talk less and let the learners talk more. So we don't expect a quiet class. So this one is the old way. We expect to have questions and debate. So this is what we expect. So when the school, let me say school principal, the director or any other person is moving around, we must be able to observe the debates. People, learners questioning themselves, but not to find a class that is very quiet as if they have gone in for a retreat. So we expect to see a balanced environment where there is questioning and where there is debating. So in fact, sometimes I say, I tell myself or my learners or the teachers that a good child is not the one who is always giving answers, but a good child is one who asks questions. It means that if you go to a class whereby any question you are asking, the learners are just giving you answers, it means that those children are not good and you are not supporting them. And also there is a problem with the approach you are using to teach them. So that's, you have to go back and reflect. A good class is where children are questioning more. Because through questioning, we develop what we call inquiry-based learning. Children will be very inquisitive. Children will be very curious to know about it, meaning that they will develop those research skills at the end of the day. But if for every question you pose, children are giving you answers, it means that they are not learning. They are not learning, and as a teacher, also you are not being challenged. But whenever the children's question you, it means that there is a lot of learning that is taking place. We are moving away from memorization, or what we call rote learning, and we want the learners learn from a range of resources. So at the Cambridge, or through the Cambridge curriculum, we are expecting that these children are able to use different approaches to learn, not only based on textbooks, but also we call it contextualized learning from different contexts. It can be outside a classroom, it can be through site visits, it can be through audios, through videos. So learning can occur anywhere, but not just memorizing the gospel truth of what you have told them. We assume, or we take that mistakes are seen as negative. This is the old system. Now, these are the teachers, or these are systems that are very old. But in the new way, we expect that mistakes are opportunities to support the learners to learn. What do we expect? We do expect that under the Cambridge system, that you as a teacher, in case a child makes a mistake, you don't tell them a big no, that maybe a child raises up the hand and the answer is no. You tell them, no, your answer is wrong. We expect you as a teacher to twist. Instead of saying a no, help this child to improve the answer. Give that positive comment. You say, maybe John, you were on track. However, we can improve the answer a bit more by maybe doing this and this. Or can you think about it? Yes, someone to support him, but we don't expect those big no's because that one demotivates the children. Because if you notice in our old times, you would find that the children who were giving answers at one point no longer give answers because you as a teacher, you demotivated them with the comments that you are giving. Telling a child no, it means that you are going to limit their thinking, because every time they want to try, it means that they are going to be limited, because they are going to be recalling what you told them at the first. Because what happens, you know very well that our mind has the conscious and what we call the unconscious mind. With the moment you tell the child no, the moment you give that negative comment that you are maybe, that God forbid you say maybe you are stupid, you are not good, you are fool, what, such comments, these children reflect on them through the conscious mind, and they start thinking and reasoning about them. Before you know it, everything is transported into the unconscious mind. Whenever they see you, whenever they want to try, it is going to trigger the unconscious mind to replicate and bring back what you told them. So mean that you are going to limit them completely from participating in your lesson. Even when they start seeing you on compound, they will say, that teacher. So they may start. So try as much as you can to see how you can twist the negative to a positivity, but without discouraging the child. So let's now avoid those negative statements, any negation that may not support the child. Then lesson focus on completion of written tasks. Many times when we go into class, many of the teachers want to complete what they have planned for, but sometimes we may not be able to attain it. Your focus should be working towards ensuring that the learning outcomes you planned for are attained. Let's not focus on completion, but let us focus on improving the skills that the children are attaining. Don't focus on attaining good grades, but focus on improving the child, because at the end of the day, it is through these learning outcomes that once they have been attained, the child will attain the skills that will help him survive in the 21st century skill. But also, much as the grades may be important, but let's not now focus on how can we improve the children's grades, but let's focus on improving the children's skills through the lessons, such that they can be able to attain the attributes that we looked at. Then here we expect there is in the old system, we are expecting a lot of instructions, do this, do this, do the other. But because we are saying that here in the new way, we expect that teachers talk with learners to confirm understanding and support. So you do not take yourself as the alpha and omega, because the learners are more exposed in this world. Learners are very exposed. So you as a teacher, you must be supportive to them such that they can be able to attain and learn more. Otherwise, for you, what you know now within you, it is enough. But now we must make the children learn more. So in fact, we call it mastering the game. Yes, your duty as the teacher is to support the child master the game. Because for you know the game already. You know how to calculate, you know your physics, you know your chemistry, history, you know it already. But your task is, how can you support the child to master the game? The moment the child masters the game, it means you have done your duty very well. But once the child doesn't master the game, it means that there is something you have really not done that needs to help the child. So I will ask you that for whatever lesson you are doing, in order for us to be able to attain the attributes, it means that there is a lot we need to integrate within our lessons. So during those lessons, let the learners discover, let them explore, let them apply, and do things that will help them, or that will be supportive to attainment of the attributes. Yes, so how is learning conducted when it comes to the Cambridge curriculum? So one, we expect teachers to use what we call activity-based learning. Activity-based learning is an approach whereby children have activities, hands-on activities that they do, and then through the teacher prepares these activities, and then the learners follow through the instructions the teacher has given. Then we have another approach we call problem solving. Here the teacher poses the problem, and then he allows children to think about that particular problem and come up with a solution to it. Then we have what we call project-based learning. Now, project-based learning is a learning approach that engages children through a driving question. A driving question, let's take an example. A teacher will pose one question using the magic 4 W's and the 2 hows. And this teacher, he will pose one question like this. Maybe, how can we control diseases within our school community? Now, that is the driving question. Now, once the teacher poses that driving question, then that question will result into what we call the inferred questions. Inferred questions are the questions that are going to come, and those questions are generated by using what we call a 5 factorial, which will generate about 120 other questions. So you pose one question, but that question will allow the children to think deeply. They will ask, what are the diseases what are diseases? What are the common diseases within our community? How can we control them? What brings about? Now, those are what we call the inferred question. So one question like this will help children to think deeply about the different areas within that subject that you want them to discover. That's what we call the project-based learning. And at the end of the day, they come up with a solution to the problem. Even they can they can have a model of a prototype that can be used to solve a problem within the community. Then we have what we call integration of knowledge and experience. Now, in knowledge integration, we expect that the children can use part of the knowledge they have learned from maybe one subject, integrate it into the other. In case we have taught these children maybe in physics a given knowledge, we expect that that knowledge they can apply it in another subject and they integrate it together. Maybe in math, something cutting across in geography or in other subject. Then we have the concept development, whereby you start from known to unknown. Then we have the demonstrations, real life, and other things. So these are some of the approaches. But one of the best approaches that will have all the 5 attributes attained is what we call the project-based learning. This is one of the magic teaching approaches that will yield the activities, that will yield the what we call the problem-solving approaches, that will yield the what we call the service learning. All those are approaches of teaching in the Cambridge system, even in our Ugandan context. So through project-based learning, you'll find us going to what we call the service learning. You'll find us going to what we call the experiential learning and other things. So there is a lot, but if you master the project-based learning, how you can pose one question that will support the children to think deeply, more so if you are in the subjects or that require, there are some 10 subjects, all subjects can use this approach, because at project class learning level, the children even can come up with a product. And once they come up with that product, it can support them maybe to make the money, can support them to attain the confidence during the communication and defending and other things. So that is, these are some of the approaches we can come up with. But maybe I can just show you one example. I can just show you here, maybe one example of an activity based. Now, this is just one of the lessons that I conducted. And this lesson I started there. It was on probability, then the competency, then I went on. I showed them the learning outcomes, what we want to learn. I showed them the keywords. I went on. I had to bring, now here I'm giving them activities, something to think about, something to discover. I ask them, have you ever used any of these words in their life? Then you'll see them saying, teacher, yes, I have used this. Then you ask, because here we use what we call open-ended questions. One question will prompt you as a teacher to ask another question. One question prompts you to ask another question, because they will say yes. Then you ask them, under what circumstances we're using the word, then they will tell you. So you find them that before, as you introduce that topic, there are certain things that you need them to discuss about. So you are guiding them, you give them a task, and you allow them to look at in their real life, because you have said, let us teach from known to unknown. So I'm introducing the probability aspect, but they have been using it in their real life without knowing. But now, can you show them how they can now notice how they have been using that particular one, and then you ask them. So you notice now here I had some scenario question that I gave them to relate. So the picture, you are noticing that I'm using pictures to help them now relate a bit to what they are learning and what happens in your life. So these are some of the activities you can develop as you are starting a topic, as you are teaching. You pose a question and then you help them. So here I'm showing them the probabilities, so they are able to relate. In case now a child is very interested in soccer, he can now know why is it sometimes your VAR that they use? Why is it that sometimes they cross the goal? Why is it that sometimes they accept it? At what percentage do they accept it? At what percentage or probability do they disallow it? So you are able to show them the real life thing where their knowledge is going to be used and how they can. So you can notice that I'm bringing different contexts, but looking at one, because they have not yet dived into the topic, but they are now able to relate to what they are learning and what they are going to find in the topic. So now you try to bring different activities to support them learn and master the game, because your duty as a teacher is to support the children master the game. So this was just an example that I was showing you how I develop my activity-based lessons before I go in for the lesson. So they are able to see what really happens. And in many of these lessons, sometimes even I put for them, we call them, word puzzles. We can spend some time on just one word puzzle. You help them learn that how they can identify. So you'll find that recently I have been conducting this is linear programming. So you find them that I'm going to display this word puzzle and I ask them to look out for the words. So here I'm supporting them to think. Okay? There is some skill that I want them to develop. The research skill, that critical thinking to think, because they may not be normal words here. They are so hidden. So you find them that they are there thinking about how to identify those different words. So at the end of the day, it might look like an easy activity, but you are supporting them to think. Because you remember, even the Cambridge curriculum emphasizes critical thinking. So these are some of the approaches you can use to support these children to learn how to think, but also to be able to deliver an impactful lesson that these children will live to remember. Because if you remember very well, there are certain lessons in your life you remember. It might be that one lesson that a teacher took you to the laboratory. It might be that lesson that the teacher came with mangoes. It can be that lesson that the teacher came with something. And the only thing you remember. One of the reasons why we remember a lot of primary things, it is because teachers were using project-based learning. At primary level, teachers use the project-based learning approach, but many times you don't remember. You see them coming with their things, their drums. So you find yourself remembering many of the things at primary level because it was hands-on, you were making your baskets and other things. So try to look out for what is it that I can do to help support this particular child. Okay, these are some of the approaches we can use to implement. Then how do we give feedback? Because he asked me also to talk about the feedback, I think, and evaluation. Now, what are the different types of feedback? One, we have the grading approach of using A, B, C, D, E. But that one has what we call little impact or negative. So you have not created a lot, because in life is a bit balanced. Some children, you may be good at a particular thing and you may not be very good in another thing. Maybe you'll find that maybe John is very good at programming, but there you'll score an A. That one we shall give him an A. Then you'll find that maybe another person is not good at programming, but is very good at soccer. But whenever we use grades, many times we are only assessing, or we are only looking at one part. We are only looking at the cognitive abilities of a child. So we forget that we have the psychomotor, the skills. So someone who is very good at soccer, sometimes the grades may not define who the person is. And we have very different children at school. You may have children who is affective, those people who have values, children who have good attitudes. There are children you find at school, academically they are not really doing so well. But when you look at how they handle themselves, how they handle school property, how they greet you on compound, you will appreciate that really this is a disciplined child, much as academically is not so strong. Now, we want that when you are reporting, you are giving feedback to the stakeholder, you appreciate whatever effort, however small it is, back to the parent. Report, tell the parent that much as here, the child has not done well, but at least there is an improvement here and there. So you are able to make sure that there is at least an impact. So then some of us add grade and comment. Still, this is little impact. Some of you just put a comment. Still, that is a positive impact. But the best is have a comment and have an action. So that is what creates strong positive impact. So when you are giving feedback, when you are evaluating this child, do not only stop at you put the grade, but what else can the child do? What areas does this child need to improve? I do believe that any comment the teacher writes or gives that is not more than 100 words, it's not impactful. It may not help the child, because when you are commenting and giving feedback, you must tell us what can the child do from what you have taught this child. Which areas has the child done well? Which areas need improvement? What can the child do in order for him to improve? So all those aspects must be captured during the presentation of what you are doing. Maybe I will share with you a sample. I don't know whether I have a report, but allow me, I think I can check. I can check here and maybe I share with you how you can do your reporting, how you can look at how people are doing the reporting, or how we are going to be reporting after giving an assessment. How do you report? Which kind of reporting do you give to these children? Yes, maybe I can use any. So the way you write your comment also matters a lot. Yeah, it matters a lot. So I can just give, hope I will get here one. Okay, I'm going to just use just one person, no problem. And so when you look at this child, so you can notice that much as I know our parents, many of our parents are interested in our grades, put their grades, but also go on and comment in a good way. You can notice that this child said that this term has seen Adam Boyster improve maybe on his vocabulary by studying test. So you tell the parent what you have been studying, what the child can do, and what it is. So you make sure that the reporting, the way you are reporting, you give a good comment that will support the child. What have you been doing in that particular area? So this is just a sample on how we do the reporting. So this is how we do the reporting when it comes to the Cambridge side. But when you look here under year 9, you notice that here we are doing quite a number of subjects because they have not yet chosen. But once they reach, I think I'm going to show you later on that once they reach a given point, then those subjects are reduced. In year 10, they reduce the subjects and then they are able to continue. Okay, so that was just an example. But still, under teaching, allow me also to share with you what are some of the resources that you can use to have impactful lessons. Yes, so I know after this session, you can search about what we call EON. Now, EON has a number of experiences that can support you as a teacher during the delivery of your lessons. Now, these sessions, so this is my EON account. EON has, we call them, I call them mainly experiences, simulations, and the rest. Because when you're going into the lessons, there are certain things that you may not be able to demonstrate practically. Sometimes the school may not have the resources. Sometimes maybe the time may not allow. You may have been very busy and you have not prepared well. And there is something you want this child to see. So what do? Some of these platforms have developed some resources that we can use. So you can come here and say, which kind of thing do I want? Do I want biology? So you'll find that some of these resources are already there that you can be able to use to make your lessons more engaging. So when you look here, this is okay, so this is my EON. So you notice I have the art, so there are quite a lot of things that you can interact with to have the experience. So allow me to take you to one of them. Now this is let me say, I'm going to look at the system, the system. So in case this is a system, here in EON, these systems are developed in 3Ds or 2Ds, depending. So you can open it and then the child sees every part inside that system. That system, I can decide to close it to show them that when it is closed, that's what you see. But when it is open, that's what you are able to see. Then I can still go on and label every part of the system, that this is the power supply, this is the cooling fan, and the rest of that. So I'm able to do a lot of things. So I can play it as an animation, but still the beauty with Ion, even it has quizzes that this child, you can tell the child after do the quiz. So it has quite a lot of things that you can do. Even it has audio to support those special needs children that have different things. So you can use Ion to improve your lessons. You can go on and use Fate. Fate is another minute that you are teaching sciences. You can go on off. I don't know whether I was here by the time I dropped off. Oh. Okay, so I was still talking about this. So this is Fate. So as a teacher, you can come here and then you have the learners interact with this. So this is the experiment. So you can show them what happens when the object is placed here. What about before the focal length? What about verify? So you are able to interact. They are able to interact. Then another tool we can use is what we call quizzes. Quizzes is another tool that we can use to engage our children in the different things. Now, quizzes, you can use it to create assessment, quick assessments to help the children. This is an objective type of thing. So let me say I'm teaching about mappings and relations. I will come here. In fact, some of these things are already generated for you. Your task for you, what you do, you just come here, you start the experience, you start the quiz, and then the learners, you put the question, and then the learners join, and then you play the quizzes. So this is another tool. I may not show you, I may not play it, but I'm just showing you some of the tools you can use. So if you don't want to use quizzes, there are other things that you can use. But also, I'm not sure whether you have a school portal already. In case you the school has a portal already for Cambridge. Now, if you are a math teacher, you are whatever subject you teach, what you do, this is my portal, but maybe I can open another portal. I can open it. So you have an account. This is my account. What I'm going to do, since I want Cambridge IGCS, in case I want AS, I come here. So this is for O level, this is for A level. In case I want this, I'll come here. Once I come here, I look for my subject that I teach math. So I go to M, M. So I continue placing up to when I reach my M. This is M is here. Now the code, our mathematics is 0580. So I'll check there, I'll click there. Now the moment I come there, I am able to see everything within mathematics. I have the resources. Cambridge gives you the resources you can use to make your lessons better. But also it can help you to set an assessment quickly. Now quickly here, you come, you say, find out more. When I come here, I'm going to check that which assessments can I be able to set, that I am a biology teacher, business, chemistry, math, addition, physics. For you are already sorted. There is no need to you to waste time to set tests. So you'll come here and say, set for me, I get started. So you come here. The moment you come here, you're going to go to the home page. Now you will select which topic you want to set about. That in case this was, let me show you how to set a new paper. In case I'm setting a new paper, I'll come and say it is mathematics, biology. Okay, let me just set maybe biology or any paper you want. Now, when I say I'm setting biology, I'll place there. Then I come, which topics have I covered? That maybe I've covered molecules. So I'll come under molecules. So I'll see different questions on molecules. And now these questions have been generated from the exams these children have been doing for years. So I'll come and say, add it for me this, put for me this question, put for me this, put for me this. I'll tell it, put for me this, put for me this. I'll come, I tell it, put for me this, put for me this. You choose the way you want. Then afterwards, you tell it, in case you want to edit, edit. In case you don't want, there's no problem. Then you tell it save. Then you'll come here and say, this is my biology test on biological molecules. Now, after that, I have saved. I'll save my thing. After saving, I'm going to come here and say edit and export. Now, in case I want to export the test, even it will put for you the questions, how many the marks, and how many topics you have been. I'll say export as a PDF. Now, I'll export it. It's going to download itself. After exporting it, even the marking scheme, it will be given to you. Hope you can see the marking scheme here. So even the marking scheme, you will come here and say, also download for me the marking scheme. So it will give you the paper and it will give you the marking scheme. So your work as a teacher now is really little. So you'll find that the marking scheme has been given, it is here. So when you are marking, you'll come, you look at the point and the guidance, that those are the answers children should give, and those are the thing. You look at even the paper. I think the paper is still downloading. Yeah. So that's how you can set these papers quickly. You do your assessment. You don't need a lot of time because since we are still in the learning process, we can first start with this. But also, when you go to the portal and you look at your subjects, these are our subjects. One thing I want us to pay attention to is the syllabus book, because always this syllabus book is updated year in, year out. So for the people who are teaching mathematics, starting this year to 2027, the syllabus changed. So you need to come here and look at the new syllabus. How does it look like? Which things have been eliminated? Which things have been added? So you check out that this is the syllabus. Read it carefully. Read everything. So you'll find that even they are going to be reminding you which attributes must a Cambridge child have. Then you read it through, even they'll guide you on the different things, how they can support you, what you need to teach. And when you look at these subjects, you are going to notice one thing, that the syllabus will clearly tell you that this content is for core. This content is for extended. So you read it through, then identify that this is core, this is extended. Core content, like when you see extended content only, it means that that content you only teach it to people who are doing extended. Then for core, you teach everything. So they will give you even the guidance on how you're going to approach it. Because the syllabus that you used last year, it may not. So now 2027 is out, even for all other subjects. But the beauty with the Cambridge, even they give you the sample assessment you can use. Now this is math, the paper that they have given you, that you can use to have your learners do. So you'll find out that when you check the paper, they are guiding you. Even the marking guide is already provided. So you as a teacher, it is your duty to come and study and say, now this is the specimen for people who are doing core. So for core, you'll notice how even they give them the formulas and everything. So you'll find that everything is there. So as a teacher, you can use this as your assessment to check out on your children. So you notice that almost everything is there already given to support you in your teaching and learning. So everything is provided. So assessment shouldn't be something to worry you. You'll find that even other resources are there. But even I want to let you know that even all examinations that these people have been doing, from which year to which year, everything is there. 2024 and the guide is there. Even these guides will be they'll guide you on when you are teaching, the marking points, the mistakes the children did, where you need to emphasize, and the rest of that. So assessment, when it comes to the Cambridge system, I want us to utilize the school portal. It has all the guides, it has all the papers, for all the years that you want. So here you are free setting all the papers mainly for the candidates, even for the juniors. You can pick as many papers for whatever subject you are teaching that the school has chosen to take. Even the teaching and learning, you'll find that they have given you the guidance, scheme of work. So here, the lesson planning, everything is here. So if you have this portal already, it is just a matter of you navigating it, know what you need. Even you have seen that here, they are even guided you. The topic questions for core, the topic questions for people who are doing extended, the specimen answers, what they expect, how to expect the learners to answer, and other things. So the only things at times they limit, even they give you further guidance in case you want certain books to use, they will give you those books. They will guide you that we recommend this book, we recommend this book and other books. But as a teacher, also you may need at one point to mark the Cambridge exams. So for you to mark, you must have taught Cambridge, one, but also you must have done some certificates or what we call the Cambridge certificate. So once you're on this portal, you go to what we call the professional development. So always Cambridge conducts what you call the professional development courses that you can do. Some are online, others are virtual, others are face-to-face. Sometimes they face-to-face are conducted in Kenya, others sometimes they are conducted online. So you choose which option you want. So in case there's something you want to learn specific and the rest, you'll come here and then check out which conference you want to, maybe in case you want online. In case there's anything you really want to learn, they always announce on this portal. In case you want to learn more about the assessment networks, you come, you learn. The only thing is that the school may need maybe to support you, because some of these ones, many of these conferences are paid for. So you pay some dollars in order for you to be able to attend. But also they have those professional developments that can go for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks to help you learn more about the Cambridge system. So these are some of the things. But I know some of you may have the resources or the books, but I know I keep placing some of my resources on the Padlet. So in case maybe you are stuck, you want certain books, because some of those books are really very expensive, and being that you are just starting, accessing some of those resources may be a bit tough, because you may find a book going for 300. I was looking for here, Cambridge Padlet. So I have placed some of my resources on this platform here so you'll find that I have placed here. So some of these books, these are some of the books I have been using now for O-level. This is the book that is being used currently, but as a teacher, you don't only base on this one, but this is the major book that is being used. Then you just keep on improving. For chemistry, this is the book that is being used. When it comes to math, this is the book that is being used. Physics, like that. In case I'm teaching A-level physics, this is the book that is being used. Geography, like that. So it is just a matter of you to keep on improving your notes, to keep improving the notes you are using, the PowerPoints, and the rest of that. So briefly, that I know may have been a bit very fast. Yeah, but I wanted to complete. But also I know very soon we shall have digital examinations coming starting in June. These ones are going to be done online. So as a school, you may look at it and see whether it can support you, whether it can work out for you. Otherwise, allow me to end here. Thank you so much for listening, and over to you, Mr. John.
Mr. John, you're muted.
So, Mr. Stephen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we want to appreciate a lot. Before I conclude, I would like to request the teachers, those who have questions can first ask you, then I will conclude later. In like 5 minutes, those who have questions, you can unmute and ask Mr. Stephen.
I have a question.
Yes, teacher Stacy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen, for the training. It was very, 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 very helpful. My question is, beginning of this year, we got new students in year 8, but our academic year runs from August to June. And so because now they've joined, essentially they've joined in term 2, do we operate a separate academic year basing on entry? Do they just go on at the end of June and move on to year 9 when the new academic year starts? Like, what's the, how do we go about that when we have students coming in at different times of the term? Because it's, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, teacher Stacy. Now, I would advise, one, you first make an assessment on how those children are doing from the academic perspective. Like when you weigh them and check on the products you have already in year 9, and you try to weigh them, maybe when you give them an assessment, where are they? In case you feel they can fit in year 9, it is okay for you to just continue with them in year 9. But in case you feel they are not yet at your level, basing on the school level, then better they repeat year 8.
Thank you so much. My other question is, when you were talking about the learning approach, yes, how is learning conducted? Because I think, like Mr. John, I told you, we are starting up. Like the things, when we talk about like the way students are taught and there's not a lot of writing, how do we balance that with the current resources that we have? Because the way the Cambridge system is ideally everyone has a book, a learner's book and a workbook. But right now, as in our case, as we're still building ourselves, how do we balance to, because I think maybe because we don't have the books, we might be forced to end up writing a lot because you want them to, that's the learners.
Okay, thank you. Now, maybe what I can recommend for that, to minimize on the writing, we can have workbooks. I know there are some workbooks that have been photocopied, some have been scanned. So we can utilize those that we have because surely they are very expensive. But I know I have some soft copies that may be, in case the school has a printer, the children can pay some money, maybe around 10 or 15. Then like you print for them the workbooks and then they utilize them. So as a teacher, then once you go to the class, you just help them to supplement on what they have within the workbook, but also they can have a book, a small book where they write. Because much as we want them to make their own notes, as a teacher, you must be guiding them on what to write basing on the textbooks that you have. So I have some books, maybe I will share with Mr. John the link where you can access some of those books, mainly the ones I've showed you. And I know some may have, I think I will check out for some workbooks for some subjects. Then you can photocopy. You have some copies maybe within your library or as a teacher, and then you can keep guiding the children in that format. But let them have a book where they can write, because psychology tells us that anything that the child writes using the hand sticks much more and is able to retain. So encourage them to write down to summarize those notes, but also utilizing the workbooks, because here, many of them, let me say, for math, we don't have workbooks, but we have a book. So as a teacher can summarize the things, and then this child can keep on writing. But that approach can still support us. I do submit.
Thank you so much.
So we welcome other questions, and one other person to ask before we let Mr. Kaziba to go, because he has another session shortly. So one more question, brief. So is one more question before we conclude.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Andrew?
Yes, yes,
Thank you
Mr.
for your
Andrew, you
for the
asked.
presentation. I would like to ask whether
Sorry if I can
is it possible getting ICT notes on website authorizing.
Okay, I didn't pick that question. Whether ICT,
Whether it is possible getting some notes on website authorizing.
on website
Authorizing.
authorizing,
Authorizing.
authorizing.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know. Are you having this book here? Are you seeing my screen? This book here. Do you have it?
I'm not yet seeing the screen. I've seen it, but I don't think whether it's there. I'm not seeing it yet.
Oh, because this is the major one we are using for ICT, so it can support you to generate, like the moment you open it, you can be able to get those notes that you may want. So just go, it's about 439 pages. So I know that topic you want about website is somewhere. It is here, chapter 21. Are you seeing it?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, so it is there.
Oh, okay. What's its name?
The what?
The name of the book.
Oh, the book. It's called Cambridge IGS CSE, second edition.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Teacher John the link. The moment he has access to the link, he will share with you. For you, come under ICT, then you just come here, download that attachment, put it on your PC, then you can use. But in case the school can photocopy, in case they don't have a copy, they can then maybe make a photocopy. Though Cambridge doesn't love it, but you just keep them as part of your resources.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. Because of time, you had told me you have another session somewhere. So we appreciate much for the time you have given us. And we look forward one day to inviting you, then you come to school, and then you have maybe a session with us in person if time permits. So we appreciate a lot. So we will always keep in touch so that we can also, since we are a starting Cambridge school, so that we can always benefit from the resources in that school you are. So that is from me. I've made it so short because you have another session. So we appreciate a lot. for your time, for your effort, and all the programs you had to cancel in order to present to us. We are really humbled, and we look forward to keeping in touch from today and onwards. So thank you very much, Mr. Stephen.
I'm humbled, and thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much, everyone, and let me wish you a good day.
So a good day too. Mr. Stephen,
Yes.
is it possible to share with us the presentation?
Yes, it's very possible. I'm going to share it shortly with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. I've already shared with you the link on WhatsApp where they can access some of those materials. So let me share the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.